Roblox RDC 2024. This is a worldwide creative audience. Welcome, everyone. Your amazing content supports connection and ultimately lets us play.
AI is already everywhere at Roblox. You can automate tasks to create your experiences. This is about bringing your vision to life faster.
We believe 10% of all gaming content worldwide will flow through the Roblox ecosystem.
We have automatic dynamic occlusion culling. Your users will just press play and it will be faster.
We're expanding our offering and are thrilled to bring Shopify on board next. The opportunity for brands and Roblox creators to work together has never been greater.
Roblox Party. It's a way that people can come together, coordinate, join servers together every single time.
We're thrilled to bring back music and to unlock even more ways for creators and now artists to get discovered on Roblox, pushing Roblox to the forefront of culture across every genre.
Our community has grown well beyond our platform. I really want to thank our influencer community for the fun, entertaining work they do every day.
We want to make sure that we're all working together.
And we hope you're seeing that in the product.
I really have never been more excited about the future of Roblox. We can't wait to see what you're going to build this year. Thank you all.
Please welcome Steph Corazza to the stage.
All right, everybody. Your day is starting already with a victory. You made it to the first talk of the day despite a fantastic party last night at the Sawhorse Forks. So congratulations to you. Today I'm going to be joined here on stage by Sujoy, Lynn, and Eric to talk about how we can leverage collaboration and AI to help you ship faster and more games. So we heard yesterday from Jandel how important it was for him to be able to try a bunch of different games and pump out as much content as possible to try new ideas until some of them will stick. And so there are basically two ways to do that. As my grandma said, if you want to be more productive, you either have to be more productive yourself, or you have to work with more people. And so today we're going to guide you through what we provide you in terms of workflows for both AI and productivity, as well as collaboration. And I want to start thanking you for all the amazing feedback that we gathered from you in this journey to make Studio a better tool and to provide AI workflows to you and better collaboration. Your feedback is invaluable. We read every single line that you write on the dev forum. Sometimes it's painful. Let me acknowledge that, but it's good because it's just giving us more motivation. So we love that. And please keep the feedback going. It's been like a pretty long journey, I would say, relatively speaking. We started our journey on AI and generative AI in Studio about a year and a half ago. It was March of last year when we released Code Assist and Material Generator in beta. Both of them are now available out of beta. Material Generator came out of beta last week. And then we have added more capabilities around being able to browse documentation more efficiently through AI, assistant actions, also AI used for texturing and for creating avatar. It's a long journey, and we could not be in this journey successfully without the data that you have trusted us to share. And so we want to also thank you for that. The data that you have shared with us allow us to train open source models, deploy them in our infrastructure at a fraction of the cost of what it will take to run those models in third-party clouds. And because of that, we were able to make them free to you in Studio. So we are one of the very few companies out there offering a lot of Gen AI workflows for free to the community. I think it's an amazing synergy that we can leverage the data to train open source model and give them to you for free. And so we also got a lot of feedback about what you wanted for Gen AI in Studio. And one very strong piece of feedback was, hey, let's focus on things that we don't want to do, right? So we want to let you focus on creativity, and we want to be basically your dishwasher. So the most cheered release that we have ever done of an AI feature was Assistant Actions a month ago about. That had like the highest sentiment we've ever seen for anything AI. Usually there's like a fair amount of like controversy on those. But there was a strong signal that you gave us. Like Assistant Actions is helping you do bulk manipulations of the data model. Things like create, like we are seeing in the video, create a forest, randomize the size of those trees, change the color, randomize the color. All these like bulk operations take a lot of time. Usually they're very tedious. There's not a lot of creativity in it. And so we automate all those through a system with Assistant Actions. You've given us great feedback. And so we want to pursue that route of being your dishwasher, your washing machine, taking care of the tedious stuff day to day that you don't want to do. And ultimately, the goal is to accelerate your iteration cycle. As we have learned yesterday, and we have seen in every talk, iteration is at the core of building a fantastic experience, a fantastic game. And so we want to really help you make the iteration faster. And we have seen the results already, not just in terms of how much content you're creating with AI, 60% more material variants, 180% more code using Code Assist or Assistant, but also 30% more publishing. And so ultimately, the more you publish, the more you can test, the more good ideas you can find, and the more of those like goldmine games and key game loops you can identify and be successful. And so that is our goal, and that's what we want. And so in the future, looking forward, what we want to add is more control. Gen AI sometimes feels a little bit like a slot machine. You push the button, you pull the lever, you get something, may be good, may not be good, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. Oh, this one is kind of okay, I would love to change this thing, well, I can't, you do it again. You do it again, right? It feels a little bit that way. And so we want to move away from the slot machine and actually giving you direct control. And so you can select maybe areas of an image that you want to change, but keep everything else. Or you want to provide a multimodal input, not just text, but also, for example, images, like we see in this case for this beautiful medieval door. And sometimes images speak more than like 1,000 words. And so in the future direction, we want to provide not only more fine control on the output, but also multimodal input so that we can better capture your intent and really produce exactly what you're looking for. And so now we're going to get a little bit deeper into our AI workflows, and I want to invite Sujoy and Lynn to the stage. Let's give them a round of applause.
All right, this thing just fell out of my pocket. All right, hi everyone, I'm Sujoy. Super excited to be here today. I actually got a really fun job. Lynn and I have actually been working on a little demo experience that we built using AI. So who's ready to have their minds blown? I'm just kidding, lower your expectations. We're not game developers, but okay, let's take a look. All right, so that was pretty short, pretty simple. Probably could have used some sound effects, so that would probably be the next thing we work on. Probably not winning any innovation awards tonight, unfortunately. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about how we built this. But before we did that, I want to say that everything you're going to see in the next few minutes is actually live in production. So you can go to the beta features, turn on Assistant, everything you see, you can go try with your own places. All right? So how do we do this? We started with a set of assets. So you may have seen these assets before. These come from our art team. They were used previously in the Duval Drive and the Beyond the Darkness showcases. With these assets, we started building out our environment. So first thing we did was I asked Assistant to take a set of trees and build a forest, certain size, certain location, and it spit 77 trees out within a matter of like 20 seconds. So now we have a forest to work with, but I wanted to add some alien spice to this forest. So I asked it specifically to add this alien veins asset on all of our beechwood trees. Assistant is really good at actually doing this kind of relative placement with objects that are already in your scene. It can also do random placement, like you saw with the forests, but it can also do algorithmic placement, like placing a bunch of objects in a line or a pattern or a circle, things that you don't want to have to like measure out yourself and do, right? And then finally, for the environment, we wanted to edit the properties of the environment. So we wanted to change the time, we added some fog, we edited some of the lighting. Now that we had an environment to work with, we wanted to use Assistant to actually work on our alien. So this alien came with this floating animation out of the box, but that was pretty much it. And so we wanted to build out some of the game mechanics. Assistant helped us create a script to make the alien chase the player and track the player whenever they came within a certain distance. It also added a script to make the eyes light up red so that the player knew that the alien had been alerted. And I'm sure you're going to read this entire prompt, right? Get your binoculars out. Assistant created this fiery laser that you see that starts blasting the player if they get even closer. Now, I show you this prompt specifically because Assistant can actually handle quite a bit of detail in your prompts. Think of it like writing pseudocode, where you're actually giving Assistant detailed instructions on exactly what you want it to do, and then Assistant is finishing the job and basically filling in the gap, right? So it might end up writing 100 lines of code from your 10 lines of prompt. Similarly, we used Assistant to build the power-ups. So what you saw in the game was the speed power-up. We also had this fire power-up that we didn't actually show in the original video. So we used the texture generator to build multiple variants of this stone pillar. So it created this lightning bolt and this fire. And then we used Assistant to create an attribute called the power-up and added a script so that when the player touches one of these stones, that attribute gets updated to the power-up that's now been enabled. Finally, we also had Assistant add a script to actually change the gameplay mechanics based on which attribute was selected. So if you touch the lightning bolt, you get to run 3 times as fast. And if you touch the fire, you get fire hands and you get to shoot fireballs. At this point, Assistant is getting pretty good at doing general scripting. So you can use it to try to help you with any scripting job that you have. We also, we didn't go into the details of this, but we used Assistant to build the UI at the beginning, the little pop-ups at the beginning and the end of the game, as well as the teleport mechanic that rescues the player at the end. Now I'm going to hand it over to Lynn.
Hey, thank you, Joy. This is really fun and inspiring. However, in our creation workflow, sometimes outside of this fun part, there's always a lot of tedious and mundane work. I believe you know that, such as bulk editing or change the names of hundreds of objects, or just some small little design tweaks, right? As an experienced developer, you know how time-consuming and sometimes frustrating it is. Now, I'm so excited to tell you Assistant can do it for you. As you can see here, it can bulk select hundreds of dozens of trees all at once that meet a certain criteria. Sometimes it can even be like very hard, right? So all of this on the rock, or like, hey, shorter or taller than the one you pre-selected. So you don't need to select them one by one and take a look of the property window. Just using this prompt, boom, problem solved. Also, you can do that, such as on the right side, it can compare the packages. Even though they look very visually similar, it can compare, tell you, hey, what's the difference in the scripts or what has been changed between different versions. Also, there's more tasks it can do for you as well. You may not know it yet, but Assistant can already handle it for you. Do you know that it can select all the objects and put it into a folder, give it a proper name automatically? Do you know that it can also change all the objects and the name, reorganize it in your data model, even you just based on the content, what's inside? I don't know about you. I'm super excited about it. I think it's already a huge booster for my productivity. It's not only because it saved my time, but more about a sense of relief that frees me up from this boring, tedious work, so I can stay in the flow and focus on the creative work I like. So here are all the tasks Joy and I did to build this demo. Assistant actually did 100% of all the scripts in that demo, and most of the environment building and mundane tasks. Now we're ready to share it to our art team to polish it a little bit more, or we can play test with our developers to say, hey, if this is a good game or not. AI is still very early, but useful already. As we demonstrated, you can see the 3 key values it can do. It can help you do rapid prototyping, can help you automate mundane tasks, as we demoed. Also, we haven't mentioned much, it can also help you learn new skills. We envision a future that scripters can do design and designers can do scripts with the help of AI. Right? It can actually assist them today. It can explain the scripts it generated. It can also help you find the documents or explain how to do it step by step. As Steph mentioned earlier, we envision a future assistant and AI will help you do all the dishes and the laundries so that you can focus on the creative work. We're so happy to be here and to hear from you. Please visit our booth at the AI and the studio. Tell us what you need. Tell us more about your specific workflow, and we're more than happy to hear from you and polish our assistant and other AI products. Now let's welcome Eric to the stage to talk about collaboration.
All right, thank you, Lynn and Sujoy, and good morning, everybody. Hi, my name is Eric Yip, the engineering lead for Creator Collaboration, and I'm excited to be here to share with you all our plans for how we're going to make collaboration workflows more powerful. Hey, so first off, why even collaboration, right? Well, we believe this is one of the pillars to Creator success because 3 things are happening on Roblox today. First, your experiences, they're getting larger and more sophisticated, and you need workflows at scale. And your teams, they're growing and becoming more dispersed. And third, creators like you and me are craving better support for third-party tools. Am I right? All right. All right. And with over 70% of hours engaged on Roblox coming from creators who collaborate, we believe that one of the keys to scaling your creation is with collaboration. All right. Sophisticated teams need the best tools and environments to iterate together. For instance, your team may want to visualize and collaborate. That's why we recently added activity history and soon annotations directly into Studio for you. So like this example, an update to the tree package will be shown in the feed for all to see, and your teammates can use annotations to describe creative intent directly in Studio without using clumsy screenshots. External tools are an important part of a vibrant ecosystem. And starting with coding, we're working towards a great experience for third party. Soon, you can use Studio File Sync to bi-directionally sync your scripts in and out of Studio without the need for another tool. So like this example, you can select some scripts you want to sync, open your favorite editor like VS Code, and voila, everything will be bi-directional when you hit save. Our vision is that anything you can do in Roblox Engine should be available to external tools via OpenCloud. And we're really excited to start by unlocking automation testing this way. So let's say you have a spaceship that you want to test in your CI/CD pipeline. Well, soon you can write your test cases in Luau, hook them up to GitHub Actions for them to run automatically. And we're not done. We're also going to be unlocking the capability for you to deploy that spaceship package directly to the Creator Store this way. And the best part, all of this can be done directly through the Roblox Cloud without Studio unless you choose to. And what better way to show this off than with a demo? So I'm going to be showing you how we can call a module script directly from the web. All right, on the left side here, I have Studio open with the module script just to show you the content. It doesn't have to be open, like I said. On the right-hand side, we're writing some Luau to actually call the module script. When we hit submit, we're actually sending this piece of Luau code directly to Engine in the Roblox Cloud for processing. And give it a few seconds. All right, and you get the results. So I'm really excited to share this with you, and I can't wait to see all the creative things you can do with this. This exact demo setup, along with file sync and annotation, are in our Studio booth today. So come by, check it out, give us your feedback, whether you love it or hate it. And then thank you very much. Next up, I want to invite Steph back on stage, and we want to invite Guy from Toyo Studio to join us for a fireside chat.
Thank you, Eric, so much. Right, so Guy the Bear will join us today for our fireside chat. I think he's the most qualified person to talk about AI since he's doing a PhD in AI and is also a long-time Roblox developer. So, Guy, how was your RDC so far?
I'm still mind blown by all the stuff you shared. Lots of cool stuff.
And so maybe we can start from there. Like, how is Toya today using generative AI in the workflow, in the day-to-day development?
We created some kind of a home-brewed CI/CD pipeline using Git platforms. So we've been using Code Assist for the past year and a half. And it's like pretty early, once you get through the motion of starting to use AI, it boosts performance. I'd say by now it's like 50% improvement on developers. So it completely changes the economic speed, your ability to iterate. It's indispensable.
And I know you guys use both VS Code as well as Studio for coding.
Yes,
so
yes.
you got Copilot and you got Code Assist. And so I wonder if in the future, actually, you could benefit even more if we were connecting those two ecosystems even more, not just with the collaboration workflow that Eric talked about, but potentially, using our models, our Lua models directly into VS Code.
We're looking forward to it. In general, in AI, the rate of innovation is crazy. There is like a new breakthrough coming in at least once a week. And using sort of a standard platform is also sort of guarantees that you get state-of-the-art in everything that you're looking for. But it's also a way that really helps us with hiring new devs, because these are like very standard platforms. So getting devs that are familiar with VS Code is accessible, much more so than experienced Roblox devs. So it really creates an environment that we can get, let's call it off-the-shelf developers, and really boost performance with state-of-the-art everything.
Makes sense. I'm super curious to know more about what your wish list for Gen AI features will be. I remember coming to you over a year ago after we released Material Generator, and I asked you, so how can we help you? And you were telling me like, hey, we need to texture like hundreds of pets, right? And then they were all, none of them was using tileable materials, and so we developed a texture generator. And then I remember like the next step, we came to you and you were like, oh, that's not good enough. We need to be able to edit very easily. And so we created this workflow with Photoshop. So you can create something, it may not be perfect, but you have now a nice round trip into Photoshop. What else would you like us to work on to help you guys?
Well, some of the stuff on my wish list I've just seen. So I think that's a good start. But I think that the place that would really change, like right now we have, let's say, a developer, maybe a developer and a half on a game, which is mind-blowing. But we still have, a team of artists that need to, a lot of the work is retexturing, because the marketplace has an object for pretty much everything. And since some of the work we do is branded, and each brand wants to have their own flavor of things, so retexturing in a game which has hundreds of characters, dozens of levels and locations, minigames and so on, retexturing takes probably 2 or 3 artists constantly per game for each update and all of that. And having a generative solution for that essentially would make a game with a 2 or 3 team members, like a dev, an artist, and a game designer, could really accelerate things further.
So with the same team, you can make 3 games instead of 1. So Sujo and Lin, bulk retexturing, make a note of that. That's a great combo between assistant and texture generator capabilities. Very cool. A question that I'm sure a lot of people in the audience have for you is, how is AI going to impact the other side, which is gameplay, right? People think like, oh, there's going to be completely new games, and some we have seen. I've played with this, the game of this startup called Ego Live. There's going to be in beta on Roblox in the next couple of weeks, where basically it's kind of a tower defense model, but instead of like attacking the tower, you're actually convincing people to join your army, right? And you just talk to them and like get them to like join your cause, and then rally them all towards the enemy castle. So like very different gameplays are probably gonna emerge, and I'm curious how you guys are experimenting. I know you're looking a lot into like NPC technology,
Sure.
so we'd love to hear from you.
NPCs are, I mean, not to downplay code assist and art generation, NPCs, I think, is sort of a new frontier that can really generate something that's social, but with the scripting component. NPCs are going to be a huge deal, not just with the language chat interface, which I think is going to be, I mean, it's already pretty good when it comes to language, but also behaviors, intents that the NPC can actually play along and feel like real users. So I think the tech is coming up to that, and we'll hope to roll something out early next year.
So would you want to see basically a large language model for the communication interface paired with like an AI behavior model that can do any animation, any gesture, any interaction with the environment?
Basically behave like what a user would do, yeah. So I think that sort of a model that can pick up the intents from the language and behave in an interesting way, that really creates a completely new type of adventure games. Every genre can really benefit from that.
And would you use that also for like game testing, maybe?
That'll be a bit difficult, I think, because like other than fast iteration, it's really hard to say because we haven't really played with that. It might be creating completely new genres. You know, it's until you actually play with that, that'll be really hard to say. But there's the opportunities with like intelligent NPCs are really endless.
Very cool. Okay, maybe last question before we jump into audience questions. If you had any advice to the audience about how to get their hands dirty with the AI, both in the creation side or on creating basically new mechanics in experience, what would be your advice?
I think the first hurdle a team has to go through is to really embrace AI. But once you do, it's really super powerful and completely change the workflow and the work dynamics in a team. In terms of advice, I'd say start early, fail early, play around. I think that one of the benefits of Roblox that it's an open platform, so you really experiment with models that you can pick up from the wild, let's say, and there's endless amount of models that can do pretty much whatever works. So I think that experimenting and integrating new models is super critical, and creators that want to come up with an innovative gameplay or game, you know, it's something that either really expensive or you got to use AI to really pick it up.
Very cool. Thank you so much. I think we have about 8 minutes left, so we'd love to take questions now. We have 2 microphones, so feel free to walk up to them and ask any question.
Hello, good morning, all. I was wondering about what would be the first steps on using Roblox Open API. I'm from a very small studio based in Brazil, and we haven't started yet. And I'd love to like some recommendations to get it very straightforward and fast using automations with Roblox Open Cloud APIs.
Up until the previous presentation, I would have said that it takes a lot of expertise to build your own custom pipeline. But I think that what I've just seen is that connecting, you know, Git and VS Code is going to be super simple, and getting developers that use VS Code it's the most accessible editor being used. So I think that the barrier of entry is gone. So I'd say that start working with VS Code environments, thinking, you know, there's Rojo, there's a bunch of solutions out there, but I think that's sort of redundant now.
Eric, do you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we're going to be launching it pretty soon for an open beta, and then we're going to have all the documentations. But basically, it's going to be a pretty straightforward RESTful API where you can submit it and you can pull for it. Internally, we have tried to use it with GitHub Actions, and then when we launch it in dev forum post, we're going to have samples for a CLI and also for a sample GitHub project that you can see how we hook it with GHA. So it should be pretty straightforward.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I actually have another question for him about version control, specifically with assets, trying to sync that up with GitHub. You like mentioned like GitHub Actions and whatnot, because having like a complete pipeline where you can, publish those packages straight to like the marketplace without even using Studio.
Yeah,
really
to the creator store. Yeah.
Yeah, is that like going to come out anytime soon? Like, I'm just like first time hearing about that.
Yeah. So that was an interesting job. I'm glad you got that sentence. We need to do it in phases. So the first release that we're going to be doing is unlocking use cases for automated testing. So it's kind of a read-only thing. But kind of as an immediate fast follow, we're going to release a subsequent engine API that lets you allow publishing package to the creator store this way. And so that's kind of next step on that journey for us. And then after that, more to come. But we're going to unlock more capabilities. As more capabilities get unlocked in engine, this API will naturally and organically become more powerful.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. My question is regarding the code that is being generated by the AI tools. Have you done any benchmarking with the other models or the code generated by, say, Anthropic's 3.5 Sonnet? Like, how does it compare?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our approach is that we use whatever is best, right, for the product. And so we are constantly trying Anthropic, GPT for anything out there. The big difference between those models and the open source ones is that the open source ones, we can fine tune them and we can deploy them in our own infrastructure. And because of that, they are like extremely cheaper to run, and so we can offer them basically in this case for free. And so before we basically deployed for code assets the new star code-based model, we actually ran benchmarks and we were like outperforming OpenAI models because we had data to fine tune. So that's kind of the secret sauce, and we're gonna get even deeper on that front where we're gonna use more and more of the data and the code that you guys are sharing to fine tune open source models on our infrastructure, and then that will basically allow us to outperform the off-the-shelf models that you can find out there because they don't have access to the same volume of data.
Yeah, I'd add to that quality is all about data. The open source models, they're like, GPT is pretty good, but there's not a lot of, Roblox specific, Lua data in there.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to the fine-tuned models coming out.
Yeah, and if you want more detail, find Karthik at the studio booth, and then he can geek out with you for a very long time. Next question, thank you.
Yeah, hey, just curious what sort of the vision is around coding inside of Studio and just like that improving the workflow, because right now feels very like everyone's kind of just throwing AI tools like into their development workflows, whereas like I would much prefer if it was just like a second brain and just like coding alongside me as if I was pair programming.
I think what you described is actually the final destination, right? We have put a lot of work for making like coding in Studio like a first-class citizen, right? There was a lot of improvements. A big one that is coming this year that you guys are gonna be all excited about is the autocomplete. We completely refactored the autocomplete. I know the latency sometimes is very annoying, and so it's gonna be like lightning fast before the end of the year. And then basically the idea is exactly what you described. It's like you're pair programming, right, with someone who can like read your mind, read your intent, and like generate code and then iterate. We also have found that it's very effective for like debugging, for example, or sometimes also for explaining code. I think code explanation is one of the highest rated features. So these are all things that will be there, and we're trying to make them as seamless in the workflow as possible, so you don't have to like move away from what you're doing, right? But you're just basically in the flow, and then you're getting this suggestion. Also, Copilot has been in the market for much longer than we have, so of course we are always looking at that, and we're learning how to improve the UX, but yeah, that's the direction we're going. Thank you.
So my question is about ownership. So if I use Gen AI to generate my models, to generate my code, to generate everything associated with do I own it? can I sell that on Marketplace?
That's a great question. So I'll give an example. If today you use Assistant to generate a scene, like the one that Joy and Lynn have shown, right? And you're pulling data from the marketplace, and you're generating code. So the marketplace data, right, is there, made by the community, and it's free for reuse. So there is like completely clean IP usage. The code that is generated by an open source model that we have fine-tuned with the community code, the community who donated it to us for that purpose. So again, we are completely clean from an IP standpoint. And so you own 100% of that. We're not infringing. We're not doing anything, that is not like completely sound from both a legal perspective and a community perspective. And that's kind of how we see it.
Is there any attribution for the developers that created that code that I'm now reusing and putting out in the world? How do they get compensated or acknowledged for the work that they've contributed?
That's a great question. A lot of open source repository ask for acknowledgement. When we ingest your code for training and fine-tuning, it's like going through the paper shredder. So we take at most 30% of that, and then if you have any bespoke function that is not present in any other game, we just throw it away. We don't want to get any secret special sauce. We just want to get like standard functions, right? And then again, everything is shredded in tokens, so there's no way you can rebuild someone else's code, and that's why we don't have the need for attribution, because you're only going to get like generic functionalities. They are basically created with like very small chunks of everybody's work together. And so this was a little bit like a synergy we did with the community. We take the code, we make it available in Studio, and it's free. And so that's kind of how we compensate, basically.
One follow-up question on that. When you're ingesting these files, if there's a header that has any copyright information, what are you doing with that file?
Yeah, we strip out all personal information, API keys, all stuff. We have a whole like system to basically filter out, clean up the data. In fact, we end up with a lot less data that you start the process, because we want to only like really, really clean stuff.
My question was more about, if it says copyright, do you not use that file?
If it says copyright, it will not be opted in, and so we will not use it, yes. I think we are at time. Thank you so much for all the questions. You can find all of us at the studio booth, so don't hold back feedback, and thank you again for a great session. Thank you, Guy.